Hi. Whoops, I did it again. Yes, folks, I fell over again and I have stitches in my other knee now. Last year I fell over and had 13 stitches in my right knee. Tuesday this week I fell over and I didn't trip up, my ankles didn't give way, my legs didn't give way. I just was upright one minute and the next minute I was on the floor on my hands and knees, which apparently can happen with many airs. So I've got stitches in my left knee this time, so I have to say I'm a little bit kind of fed up because I'm having to kind of not drive, so I can't go to work, which is kind of like, so yeah, I'm just kind of filling in a bit of time by doing a little video. I thought I'll do a video on that first, because why not, and then I'll do another video which I've got some questions for. So yeah, so this is just a kind of update. In Stoke-on-Trent it's all been happening because we've had a by-election, so there's been lots of political people in Stoke-on-Trent knocking on doors, delivering leaflets and generally trying to persuade everybody to go and vote, which is great. But on the day of voting we had a hurricane come through the city, literally like 70-80 mile an hour winds and lots of tree damage everywhere, and consequently only 38% of people went out to vote. I wasn't one of them because, as you know, I've got a poorly leg. I've been sitting with it up and watching lots of DVDs instead. So DVDs that I've watched, I have seen this week The Last House on the Left, which is a Wes Craven movie from the 1970s, which I've never seen. I actually have never seen it. And consequently, knowing how sophisticated films have got, going back to that film is quite a shock, really, because obviously it's 1970s values and 1970s quality. So it's a bit ropey, folks. The premise of the story is great. However, I think it needs an update. It's not often that you will hear me say a film needs an update, but that one definitely does. I have also seen Doubt, which is a film with Meryl Streep. That's quite interesting, sort of historical type of film, because I do like a bit of history films. This is a kind of, it's based on a stage play called Doubt, and it's incredibly complicated. The story is incredibly complicated and I'm not going to explain it to you. It's a film you're either going to love or you're going to hate. I loved it because, again, it kept me guessing all through it. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. I also watched Cirque du Freak, the Vampire's Assistant, which I picked up very cheaply in a charity shop, as I do with all of my DVDs. That I had to watch that a couple of times because, unfortunately, my head went a bit funny before I watched it and I ended up falling asleep. Not that it didn't hold my attention, it's just that I fell asleep. So I swapped it round and rewinded it and watched it again. And it's not bad as a kind of different take on vampires and different take on, you know, just a kind of magical world. It's really quite different. It likens itself to Harry Potter, which it isn't at all like Harry Potter. So if you're going with the expectations of grand vistas like in Harry Potter, it doesn't deliver on that score. However, it is quite nice and it's quite a bit gothic-y, I suppose, in a kind of surreal, funfair, freak show kind of way. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I also saw, I'm having trouble remembering. I'm trying to remember the actors who were in it so I can remember it. quite a few DVDs over the past few days because I've been sitting with my leg elevated to stop any swelling and so on, and to help it to heal. Because the beauty of having stitches in your knee, folks, is that when you try and bend your knee, you could rip your stitches open. So it's kind of self-limiting, shall we say. So I can only bend it through a certain degree. I can only put so much weight on it. I can, you know, getting out of the bath is a nightmare. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm just kind of sitting here and just making up a video for the hell of it. I also lost a dear friend last week that I didn't tell anybody about. Somebody who was a very good friend of mine for a number of years. We were very, very close when we both lived in Stockport, and unfortunately we lost contact quite a bit because she moved about quite a bit and I moved about, so it was tricky to sort of stay in touch really. Because there were times when she wasn't online and that sort of thing. So we did lose contact. We did recently make contact again last year, I think. And, you know, she was getting on a bit anyway. When I say getting on a bit, I mean she was, you know, she was heading towards 70 at a rapid rate of knots. Now, we were very close friends, and I used to spend most days around her place when I wasn't feeling too grand. We used to do healing for one another and Reiki, you know, Reiki healing and stuff, and we'd sit and talk about all kinds of things like angels or paganism or anything. We used to talk about all kinds of things, and so she's, you know, it's come as a great loss really. Unfortunately, I don't know when her funeral is. I'm hoping to find out so that I can hopefully sort of pop along to that if my leg allows. But what was really interesting is I went into a charity shop on last Friday. This was the day after I found out she died on the Thursday. I came across a couple of books that kind of really sort of threw me because they don't normally have them in this charity shop. One is on angel healing, another one is an angel's diary, and the other one is a Llewellyn's Magical Almanac, which if you like Llewellyn books, you'll love the Magical Almanacs because they're like a magical diary almost, with lots and lots of info in them. And I used to have quite a few of them, and it's, again, what I found interesting is these books turned up and I just went, I first found, the diary, the angel diary, and I said, oh, thank you, Babs, you know, thinking, you know, angels were doing their work. And then I kind of turned around and looked at another bookcase, and there was another, the angel healing book. And I was like, come on, Babs, you got to do it. You got to, just to prove it's you, show me, give me another book. And then I found the Llewellyn's Magical Almanac. These, again, as I say, were things that we used to talk about all the time. And I have taken that as a message that she's okay. And I'm very pleased about that. Because she was somebody who did watch out for everybody. She was an ex-biker chick, so she had tattoos and, you know, a few piercings and things, and was, you know, a bit rough around the edges. You know, she was somebody who, you know, would, if you'd done something wrong, she would tell you straight away that you've done something wrong. And she was very upfront and in your face, and would, you know, get on your case if she thought you'd done something wrong. But with a heart of gold, absolute heart of gold, would do anything for anybody, and would literally, you know, would phone you up at the moment's notice and say, oh, by the way, I'm getting a new settee. Do you want this old one? Well, yeah, okay, if yours has had it, you know. And she'd say, I've just known such and such a body is getting rid of such and such. Do you want it? And I thought, okay, you know, because when you don't have a lot of money, she never really had a lot of money, but she was always attracting things into her life. And she said, look, you've got to just do it. If you want something, you've got to just ask for it, and it will turn up. She says, it doesn't matter. You know, she said she did her Reiki training and various other things. She said, I asked and it was there. I was able to do it. And it's something that I struggle with. I still struggle with the sort of asking the universe for things and whatever. If you're someone who isn't cynical to all that sort of stuff, So yeah, I struggle with that a little bit. So you know, unfortunately her passing has reminded me that I perhaps need to do that a little bit more. So yeah, this is rambling, isn't it, again? And I just wanted this to be a short one because I wanted to get on and do the questions. So I will do my questions next, and I will see you soon. Bye.